Okay. So, welcome to the Strong for Life podcast. I'm joined today by my awesome client, Katja. And Katja's been in the program for into her fourth month in the program with us now. I wanted her to come on to talk about her experience because she's gotten amazing results. And I know there's probably a lot of you out there who are probably in a position where Katja was before. And she's going to just share like how everything's gone for her today and the position she's in now. So, Katja, thank you. Really appreciate you jumping on and sharing your experience so far.
Thanks.
Great. Why don't we start with just a bit about you, like where you're from, your situation, age, work, these types of things.
Yeah, I'm 54 years old. I'm originally from Finland, but I live in Norway, in the capital, Oslo, and I work with IT. So it's a bit a sedentary job. And yeah, I have never been actually member of a gym or trained in any organized way. It has never been really my interest. But I like to think that I was not totally sedentary either. I did hiking, I like walking, scuba diving. But I started feeling that it was more difficult to get up from the floor, and flexibility was not the same as before. So I wanted to slow down this downward spiral and perhaps even reverse it if possible.
Right.
And yeah, little by little, I was also gaining more weight, and I wanted to stop that.
Okay. Yeah. So like not really, I guess one thing actually I'm curious about before we jump in is I didn't realize so Finland and Denmark, is it really similar or do you find it was different like moving and adapting to life in Denmark?
Norway.
Oh, sorry, Norway. Norway,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, the language is different, but in Finland we have to learn Swedish at school. So Swedish and Norwegian are pretty similar. So I can already understand something. So it's pretty easy. The system is pretty much same. We can freely move to these countries. So not so big difference, I feel.
Okay, so no visa or anything, you can just go in
Yeah,
without
yeah.
uh like it's more connected than the EU itself.
Yeah, the Nordic countries have agreement. I don't need a residence permit or anything to move to Norway.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so you kind of touched on the position you were in. You were feeling just weight was being gained, like getting off the ground was challenging for you. You also had an injury. Do you want to share about that as well?
Yeah, health-wise, I have ankylosing spondylitis, a rheumatic sickness, and yeah, fortunately, I'm not so severely affected by it, but there are some aches and pains, and it can affect mobility, and I should be training in order not to lose it. Also, I'm struggling with plantar fasciitis. It hit me quite bad after a quite hard hike, and I didn't seem to get rid of it. So I also wanted to do something about that, if possible.
Yeah, and it's like we talked about this before, but it's a very frustrating injury. I had it for like 3 years before I knew how to deal with it. Um, let's talk about maybe when we first talked, or maybe when you were out there looking for options. Like, what were you skeptical about, given that like it's an online program, we're in different parts of the world. Yeah, what was going through your head then?
Yeah, exactly that. If would online coaching work as a concept, would it really be possible to get results training at home? And well, I found you in Instagram, and not everything in Instagram or Facebook are legit. So a good amount of skepticism is good there as well. Yeah, on personal level, as we already talked, I don't have good track record when it comes to training. So I was wondering if this training would be enjoyable. Would it be something I would like to continue with, or is it something I start and then give up after a while?
Yeah, yeah, that all makes complete sense. In particular, yeah, there's a lot of different options on Instagram, and not all of them are real coaches.
Yeah.
So let's jump into results. Like, what would you say if you were to say like your top 3 results you've experienced today? What would you say they've been?
Yeah, I actually have developed a habit of training, and I do enjoy it. Yeah, don't get me wrong, there are days when when I'm tired, and it can be challenging, but I've tried to do this as good as I can, and it definitely is a habit now. I can feel the difference if I'm not training several days on a row, so I start to miss it. Um, and I definitely I've noticed that that the plantar fasciitis is getting better. I've been testing some with some hikes, and yeah, it has flared up a bit, but seems to go away also quicker now. So it's manageable.
Yeah, that's huge. When you said like miss the feeling when you exercise, maybe just expand on that because a lot of people just never get into the habit of exercising consistently. So I think that would be helpful for people.
Yeah, I was just on vacation, and I had to uh, do my training in the beginning of the first week of vacation, and then push the next week's training to the end of the week. And there were several days, and yeah, I felt that I was getting more stiff, and I need to need to train. So I definitely feel the difference when I'm training and not training.
Yeah, yeah. I always find, and I have this conversation with a lot of clients, is like once you get into the habit of it and you start feeling really good, then you were like, I didn't realize how much worse I felt when I wasn't
Yeah,
training. You
yeah,
have a difference. Let's talk about weight loss as well. How did that all go for you over the last few months?
yeah. I have so far actually lost 8 kilos. I don't know what that is in other measurements that
About
people use
15,
around the world.
15, maybe actually more, 16, 17 pounds. Yeah, 15
Yeah.
to 20 pounds. Yeah. Amazing. Do you like, and did you feel like you were dieting heavily, or can you maybe explain how that was achieved?
I think it happened the right way. There was no crazy diets or quick fix methods. I feel that the only change I've made to my diet is adding more protein.
Hmm.
Actually, there's not so big change there. Yeah, snacking, that was my my problem, but I'm better at that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
huge. So dropping 15 to 20 pounds, we'll call it, by making these 2 tweaks with protein and not snacking. How long, over what period of time did you lose that 8 kilos or 15 to 20 pounds?
Um, yeah, at the uh, yeah, I haven't been tracking really that. That was not my main focus. But at the end of I think fourth month, it was 7, and now I have lost 1 more kilo actually.
Yeah, which is
Yeah,
great. Because you were on holidays and stuff as well, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
The big heavy British breakfast that's not healthy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's always like a sign of the sustainability when you're not just locked in a room for, 4 months, you're actually living your life, you're
Yeah.
social, you're doing things, and you're still moving in the direction you want to. With these kind of changes, so like building the habit of training consistently and now actually missing it, feeling like you're stiffening up when you don't train, the weight loss that wasn't even really a goal, and then also just around the rehab with the plantar fasciitis. How have these changes impacted everything for you?
Yeah, I with the weight loss, I can feel the difference in my body when I walk. I can say the step is lighter. Um, it's easier. I have more strength also, and the mood is better also when you see the results. So you are happy about that. You're more energetic. So definitely good.
Yeah, that's awesome. Um, I think a good thing as well that I'd like you to maybe if you're thinking about there's someone out there listening who's maybe not in the exact same position, but in a similar position, maybe it's a woman in her like early 50s, just feeling things stiffening up, maybe he's gained some weight. What would be like, 2 or 3 nuggets of advice that you think that would be beneficial for that person listening?
Oh, I mean the program is tailored in a good way that you don't feel that it's overwhelming or it's neither too easy. So I think it's a very good way to start training. Like for example, me, I didn't have that habit, but it comes along. It takes into consideration where people start from and what injuries they have or what are they struggling with.
Yeah. And like if there was one, maybe for someone, maybe they're not in a position to join a program or maybe in the future, but they would just be like, okay, if I could start doing this tomorrow, what would that be for them? What would you recommend?
I would probably recommend to find some good exercises to do. Stick with it. Try to make a program maybe on their own. Try to get good habits of eating also.
Yeah. And with the habits, would you be kind of relaying what worked for you, like the no snacking and protein as the 2 things to focus on?
Yeah, it's when you eat more protein, you don't feel like you need to be snacking. When you eat in a right way, then the need for snacking is also disappearing. So that's good.
Yeah. What would be some, because I know a lot of clients we work with, sometimes at the start, they don't really know what are some sources that are, make sense, can fit into your life. What have you found helpful?
Well, I try to eat a different variety of protein, whether it's from animal kingdom or maybe it's plant tofu or it's beans or so forth. I like to vary it.
Brilliant.
And well, sometimes I have supplemented with protein powder as well if I feel like there has not been enough.
Okay. Yeah, I love it. Super simple, super sustainable. And like as you're proving, like the results are speaking for themselves. So Katja, I really appreciate you sharing your story. Also the advice. I always find it really powerful for you as a client to give people advice who are in a similar position to where you were in the past. So yeah, anything else you want to share before we jump off?
No, it's I really enjoyed the program, and I can very warmly recommend it to to everybody. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. And it's great. Just, it's been awesome seeing your journey so far and you're on board for the next, year. So it's going to be interesting to do maybe one of these in maybe 10 months, 11 months, 12 months down the line to see what hikes you've done and what else you've achieved.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, awesome. All right.